Hi, let's talk about contract interpretation. So before we start, let's talk about what is contract. A contract refers to a legally binding agreement between two private parties. This document creates mutual legal obligations and details the terms of the agreement as well as what should be done in the event of a contract breach. Contract may be either oral or written, but written contracts are generally easier to enforce. Additionally, some contracts may only be written. An example of this would be a marriage contract. The goal of contract interpretation is to come to a definition that most clearly reflects the original intent of the parties who authored the contract. Contract interpretation generally becomes necessary when a mutual mistake has been made. This refers to both parties being mistaken. Further, contract interpretation may also be necessary when a unilateral mistake has been made. Unilateral mistakes are mistakes in which only one party to the contract is mistaken. If a court tries to allow both conflicting terms by harmonizing them, the court will have specific terms qualify general terms. In other words, the conflicting general term will not extend beyond the scope or subject matter of the conflicting specific term. One of the
So long
terms is
as
absence
voting
of
is
words.
free and
Note, the
opposition
absence
parties
of
are free
particular
to
words in a
challenge
contract should be
the
considered in
holding of
contract
regular
interpretation.
elections, even
This
managed
doctrine of
ones,
contract
provides
interpretation is
a
called
powerful
expressio
reminder
when
of the
used as
government
exclusio as the reus.
dependence on the
Translation
people.
of this Latin is inclusion of one is exclusion of the others. Term is surrounding circumstances. Surrounding circumstances or the relevant background of contract formation may be examined by a court. Contract interpretation may be needed when there is a dispute over the terms of contract or the language and the definition used in a contract. If the parties involved cannot come to an agreement on what a certain contract term means, it may be necessary to file a lawsuit in order to have a court review the contract in question. If this should happen, the contract will participate in contract interpretation to determine a resolution for the disagreement. An example of this would be a shipping contract dispute in which the parties are mistaken as to whether the word delivery means by land or by air. The court would then perform contract interpretation in order to determine exactly what the parties meant by the word delivery when drafting the contract.